Hotep, ET, Ren-I, Shakandugu Kemet, Senu, Hena, Senut. What's up? Greetings to all. Ujambo, Akwaba, and all that good stuff. I hope you're doing well, brothers and sisters, and I hope you can hear me loud and clear. I only warn the subscribers that I was going to go live 20 minutes beforehand. I have a little bit of time on my hand, and I wanted to see what's up, what's good with you. I have shared the invite link for anybody who would like to call in. And if you have any comments to make, any questions to ask, then feel free. You can use the chat, or if you want to speak to me directly, then you have the link there in the chat section. The link has been pinned, so it's basically on the top of the chat section. Well, I think it will appear no matter how much you scroll down. It will still show at the top. So feel free to come in. I'm going to wait a little while and see what's good. Yes, I have to check the sound. Feel free to leave your comments and your questions, brothers and sisters. I'm here. Not talking, I'm waiting. I'll wait a little while, and if there's nobody here, then we'll call it a day. I was really in the mood to speak with the people, but I'm aware that warning only 20 minutes beforehand is not a long time to prepare, but hey, it's Saturday, so let's see what's going on. But I'm here. Feel free if you have any comments or questions. All right. And for the record, now this is a bit technical, but I have uploaded a video entitled Black Arabia Checkmate. It's a video that I made a while ago, actually years ago. But for those who know the discussion regarding the claims for black Arabs during the time of the emergence of Islam, during the lifetime or the period where Muhammad ibn Abdullah was said to have lived. One of the main arguments for people to claim, and Merut is there, by the way. Which you're doing fine. I think you will hear her making noise and laughing. She's just there having fun. Hope you're doing well. So, the main argument for these people to try to claim that Muhammad was black, even though he was described, I'm sorry, the main argument is to say that Muhammad was black, even though he was described as white, is that according to Ibn Mandur in Lisan al-Arab, it says that when the Arabs say that such and such is a white man, Rajul Abiyad, then they don't mean white skin, they mean a noble character, and they mean all the good stuff. Greetings, Kojo. Yes, I'm doing well, thank you. Nikki Lane, sorry, said that Merud is so cute. So the problem is that there is that quote where it's reported that in the same book, Lisan al-Arab, considered to be one of the greatest lexicon or dictionary, if you will, of the Arabic language, we have Ibn Mandur says that Asmar is a degree between white, Abiyad, and black, Aswad. So that's very problematic. And the same PhD who try to make us believe that Abiyad doesn't mean white, himself, he translated Abiyad with white. And we are told that this is the color for the human complexion and also for camels and so on. And knowing that we are told that Asmar, now Asmar is a word for, you can translate it as brown. And the fact that it says that Asmar is the degree between white and black, that kills the idea or the argument that Abiyad means black, because it's not possible that this quote can be translated or interpreted as Asmar is a degree between black and black. There's no such thing as a degree between black and black. Understand? So this is just one more example out of the many with the demonstration that I've made. And was wonder what I'm talking about, let me share the link. Mm-mm. Color of non, non, s'il te plaît, ferme. There it is. The link is in the chat. Now, Nikki Lane wrote, Muhammad is white. And she added, it is written in Quran. I doubt that this is written in Quran. I really doubt it. Now, please tell me what's the passage, what's the chapter or surah, what's the verse or ayah. Probably in Hadith, not the Quran. A lot of time, however, people get it mixed up between the two. But I think you meant Hadith. Now, if it's in the Quran, then please let us know. I'm not aware of that. From a biography for Prophet Muhammad, there's not much information about his personal life in the Quran. Now, Hadith is something else. All right. So feel free, if you have any questions or comments, brothers and sisters, feel free. I'm definitely in the mood for flowing and interacting. Give me something to flow about at least. But in the article that I've shared, there's so many other examples. So many quotes from the Hadith, different Hadith. So their argument is getting weaker and weaker and weaker. But once again, this is technical because I'm well aware that when I say Abiyad, Aswad, Asmar, that goes over a lot of people's head, and it's understandable because we're dealing with another language. So Nikki Lane wrote, I was taught it in school. He was on a horse and his leg exposed was written as white. Well, Nikki Lane, did you go to a Muslim school? And like I suspect, it is indeed the Hadith. For example, let's do a screen share. That's the link. Now I will make this larger. Now, this is indeed the Hadith. Hey, pretty girl. So this is indeed the Hadith. The different quotes from several Hadith. And the one with his leg, when he was on a horse, Sahih Bukhari 371, number 371, but you might have different references depending on the publisher of this collection of Hadith. The bottom, you have the excerpt from English, Arabic on the right. Okay, so you have plenty others, other different quotes. Um, we have three description of Muhammad being described as white. We have a description of his white chick. We have a description where he says that he was not brown for the people. But anyway, I went through that. I went through that. But there we have a quote from Sahih Hadith. Um, that he was not even brown, and this is well, I'm sorry. Baby girl's playing with the cables, so I left her with her mom, with her mommy. So I was sharing this link that I've put in the chat, and I was going through the different quotes. Now, there's one thing. There's one thing that I will double check before I go and read the next comments. Now, not that one. How strange. Okay, I'll have to double check that in my own time then. Okay, so Nikki Lane wrote, Aswad is black indeed. Aswad is the Arabic word for black. Now, okay, so Nikki Lane said that it was in college that a Muslim scholar taught her the Quran. Then the indigenous one wrote that, really, dude? Now, here's what I'm going to do. And there it is. So if I refresh, that's it. Now, please, some of you don't want to call in and you have your reasons. It's fine. But if you're in the chat, be precise. Be precise. When you type a message, make sure that it's understandable. Okay? So the indigenous one is gone. And I'm not asking you anybody to type like Shakespeare, but really, I'm in the mood to flow. I'm in the mood to have a dialogue. But, you know, things like that, not really feeling it. Now, Capalot Round wrote, well, he didn't leave any message, but he gave me a $5 donation. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Very kind of you. If you have any questions or statements, then feel free also. We have Level Up Queens who wrote, hello family, I'm winging myself off the Bible, which is stolen, misleading Kemet knowledge. Is there a such thing as a Sabbath day? Sabbath day, that's for the Jewish people. It's not Kemetic. It's not African. And well, some people will claim that the original Jews or Hebrews were black, but you know that's wishful thinking. It's just like those people who claim that Prophet Muhammad was black and his companions were black also. And they don't only claim that Muhammad was black; they claim that he was jet black, even though we have a Sahih hadith that says that he was not even brown, and plenty that say that he was white, abiyad. Now, what was the other thing? However, you have some people who claim to be Kemetic and who celebrate a Jewish holiday every year, and that is Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is a Jewish holiday. Kwanzaa is a black version of Hanukkah. So everybody can look up Hanukkah and you will see. Now, I'll leave you with a present gift. This article here, I'm typing Kwanzaa and in parentheses, Jewish holiday blackened. And you have the link. So you will have much more details than what I have said. I've merely touched the surface. So feel free with your comments and questions. And understand, brothers and sisters, when it comes to the Bible, you're welcome, Level Up Queens. When it comes to the Bible, it's not only African teachings or science or culture or stories that was the inspiration or that was plagiarized, but it was a fair bit of other thing. Like probably the most famous is the epic of Gilgamesh, mainly for the flood story. I have one video where I am in the Champollion Museum in Oxford, and they they allude to that. They mention that actually, but you will see some videos coming back up. Because our videos, I have hundreds of videos, and some were uploaded like years ago. So um, you will get a lot of quotes, a lot of artifacts, original documents, and so on with the references, name, dates, and places. So we will learn and have some things reviewed all together, because unfortunately, a lot of our people don't understand chronology. See, but keep it coming, brothers and sisters, with your comments and questions. Really take advantage. Take advantage. And if there's no thing, then we're gonna call it a day. But uh, if you want to speak to me directly, you have the link. It says calling link. That's basically the first link that you see in the pinned comment. Okay, so if you don't want to call in, you can use your smartphone or your computer or your tablet. But if you don't want to call in, then feel free with your comments in the chat section. Comments or questions, it's up to you. So feel free. I'm waiting. You are shy this evening, brothers and sisters. It's all good. It's all good. Okay. I'm checking something at the same time, and I'm seeing if there are any comments or questions. But feel free, and if there's nothing, then I guess in a few minutes we'll cut it a day. You know, it's been quite a while I didn't go live. Okay, we're gonna call it a day. Um, Remember, I'm giving Medunature classes. Oh, John, brother. Okay, now let me just first share the screen of the Medunature classes. Um, so John wrote, "Hello Ndugu, I'm back online after a while. Great to see you, brother. Yeah, it's been a long time. What's up, Sen? ET, a long time. Feel free to holler at me when you have time. You can leave a small message on WhatsApp. But it's good to hear from you. Really good, you know. And we have some new people taking the classes. One brother was underage. It's quite amazing. He studied a lot by himself. Yeah. I haven't heard from that brother for a long time, so it's good to hear from him. You know what? I think I will share. Do I have it there? I might. Yeah, I might have it here. Um. Yes, I will do that. I put a video there. I think some more people will holler. It's only 8 p.m. here in Europe, but in America it's much earlier. John wrote, "Will holler. Always a pleasure listening and watching you. Keep up the good work." Asante, Ndugu. Asante sana. So, let me do this. Let me do this. Where is it? It's not there. Sunday at church, you usually hear the same things. Sometimes they tell you about news stories, but most of the time it's the same thing. For example, when it's time to give the bread and the wine. So let's check this out because I know some people have not seen that.
Hotep, Introduction to Kemet, the missing link in Black history. I am Shakandugu Kemet. My goal is for you to learn and understand some information that you probably never came across before. For this reason, the beginning is going to be somehow meticulous because it's necessary. We are dealing with thousands of years of knowledge. We're going to deal with primary sources, originals. There's going to be name, dates, and places. So let's get right into it. Africa, Afuraka. I'm not going to waste time about the Middle East claim because it doesn't make sense, as you can see. I'm going to break down the word Kemet for you. That's a hieroglyph, the Meduneta. Now the first symbol, that's for Kem. It's a piece of charcoal, of course crocodile skin, because that's what it's described as most of the time. Then you have the loaf of bread, that's the sign for T. Then the bird is actually a O, and that's for M. That sign there is the town, village, settlement, Egypt, Thebes. The numbers in bracket are the God in the list number, and it can be useful, even though our ancestors obviously didn't use that. Some of you might say, fine, okay, but where can we see Kemet? No problem. This is the second Kamose Stela, number J43, at Luxor Museum in Kemet, Egypt. We are going to see where it's showing that's line 23. Slowly but surely we're getting there. Here it is, in the middle of your screen. Here's a slight close-up with the Meduneta transcript underneath. How old is Kemet? Thousands of years old. The first dynasty starts around 3100 BCE. Menes or Narmer or Mena is the king of the first dynasty. We're not even talking about pre-dynastic period. Some of you might wonder, really? Show and prove. No problem. Here is the royal list of Abydos located in Kemet. It gives in chronological order 76 kings from Menes, that's Narmer, to Seti the First. Then you have the Ancestors Chapter of King Jehotimes, commonly known as Thutmose III. It's from the Temple of Ammon in Karnak, number E13481 bis in the Louvre Museum in France. There's 61 names there from Menes to Jehotimes III. You have the Palermo stone around 2500 BCE, and that's located in Italy. The Narmer's head, UC 15989 in Petrie Museum, London, and the famous Narmer palette, CG 14716 in Cairo Museum. This is 5,000 years old. Why is it called Egypt today? It comes from Het Kapta, the house of the Ka of Ptah, which gives Aegyptos in Greek, Aegyptus in Latin, and finally Egypt in English. Het Kapta is Memphis, and that's what the US town is named after. I am going to show you where our ancestors wrote Het Kapta about 3,000 years ago, but first I want you to get some understanding about the source that I will use. Pert M. Heru, commonly known as the Book of the Dead. It's a papyrus that's 3,000 years old, kept at the British Museum, number 10470. It's a compilation of spells and things to get you through the afterlife. It has to do with spirituality. Every time we quote the book, that's the edition that I'm on. You need to understand that there's all the versions, right? People will have that when they die, it'll be there with them in a coffin. And you have different ones, and I can give you examples. Here's the Pert Emheru of Hunefer, around 1300 BCE, located at the British Museum. This one is the Pert Emheru of Nat, same date in British Museum again. Pert Emheru of Nebseni, 1400 BCE, same location in London. Pert Emheru of the scribe Nebked, that one is in the Louvre Museum in Paris, France. Those texts are derived from other ones called the coffin text, and here's an example right there. Coffin text of Goa around 1800 BCE from Der El Bersha in Kemet, number EA30840 in the British Museum. That's well over 3,000 years old. The coffin texts are derived from other texts, which are the pyramid text. And there you can see the pyramid text of Unas around 2300 BCE. That's well over 4,000 years old. And then the pyramid text of Teti I in Saqqara, Kemet. Okay. Now, why is it called the Book of the Dead? Because it was found in coffin generally, like the one for Ani, for the scribe Ani. And we can check out the real name is actually in the book. So let's have a look. Page 28, the common name for the Book of the Dead, Pert Emheru, which words have been variously translated, manifested in the light, coming forth from the day. Page 355, it tells you that it's on plate 5. Okay, and here's a breakdown of plate 5. Pert Emheru. Now, why do we talk about plates? The papyrus of Ani was found, and it was 20 meters long. So, Wallis Budge, who bought it, cut it into 37 pieces. That's why we are talking about plates. And there we're dealing with plate 5, and I'm showing you where Pert Emheru is written. Let's have a look now. We're going to zoom in. There it is. That's right there. So I'm just going to cut that and then show you the Meduneta transcript. And it's just right there, Pert Emheru. You will notice that the hieroglyph is slightly different. It's because it's cursive hieroglyph. Remember, I told you I would show you Het Kapta. Let's go. Page 438. Check out the Meduneta for Het Kapta. Underneath we have the translation. That's line 7. There it is. Now, on the previous page, it tells us that it's on plate 15. So let's bring it up. There it is. And we're going to zoom in. That's the one there. It's not that clear, so we look at another page. That's 490. Here's the Meduneta once again. It tells us that it's on plate 19. So that's plate 19 right there. We're going to zoom in. And there we go, it looks slightly better. Here's a close-up, and you can see that it's made up of sign Q3X1, V28, D28, and O49. Now you definitely know the origin of the word Egypt. Now we're going to move on to something else. Let's deal with the word pharaoh. It doesn't mean king, it means house. On the left you have Sultan, the original name that our ancestors used to describe a king. And on the right you have the pharaoh symbols, the hieroglyphic signs. So it's all broken down to you, as well as Sultan, with the Gardiner list numbers if you want to take it further. Now on page 459, that's plate 16, you can see the word Sultan, and you have the translation. We're looking at line 6 right there. I am crowned upon my throne like the king of the gods. Now you do have the sign there, and also the 3 hatchets. They're not flag, they're actually hatchets. That's a symbol for Neteru. If you have one, then that's Neter. Okay, it's clear there in the middle. Another one that might be of interest to you. That's page 352, plate 2. We're looking at line 8. Homage to thee, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. That probably reminds you of something. Yes, Revelations 19:16. You have King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Also, Revelations 17:14, Lord of Lords and King of Kings. Let's move on. In this edition of the Pert Emheru from the same author, we can see how to pronounce the word for praise and adoration, which is toi, there on page 8. And then underneath you have it again, toi, adoration. Now you can see that in the edition that we're dealing with on several pages. First you have page 339. There, line 1, hymn of praise to Ra. You also have it on page 342. There again, praise to Ra. Page 347. And also on page 487. On page 496. And finally on page 511. So praise, adoration, toi. Praise of Ra, toi, Ra. Doesn't that sound like something you heard before? Think harder. There it is. Now it might just be a coincidence, who knows, but I just wanted to show you that. Let's move on. You can look up the legend of the destruction of humanity, otherwise called the Book of the Celestial Cow or Book of the Heavenly Cow. Could be another coincidence, just like those names, Thutmose, Kamos, Amos, Amenmos. Next, by Paris Daubianet at the British Museum. Compare the tale of two brothers with Genesis 39 verse 6 onwards. You have fun. Famine stela of King Joseph around 2600 BCE. In a period of 7 years, grain was corn. Compare with Genesis 41 verse 30. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine. Papyrus Leiden in Holland, between 1800 and 1600 BCE. Now, even if Moses existed, he wasn't even born yet. Chapter 2, line 10. Indeed, the river is blood. Exodus 7:20. The waters that were in the river were turned to blood. There's plenty of other so-called coincidences. Let's deal with them. Chapter 2, blood is everywhere. Exodus 7:21. There was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. Chapter 2. Men shrink from human beings and thirst after water. Exodus 7:24. And all the Egyptians digged round about the river for water to drink. Chapter 2. He who places his brother in the ground is everywhere. Exodus 12:30. There was not a house where there was not one dead. Now, probably the most famous papyrus in the world, plate 31 and 32 of the Pert Emheru, the Papyrus of Ani, commonly called Negative Confessions, Admonitions of Ma'at, Declaration of Innocence, or Principles of Ma'at. We're going to have a look. It's on page 576 that is translated. Right now we are going to compare the laws of Ma'at with the 10 Commandments. Let's have a look. Page 576, like I said, from the translation. Negative confession number 27, I have not blasphemed. Exodus 20, verse 7, you shall not misuse the name of the Lord. Negative confession number 24, I have not transgressed the law. Exodus 20, verse 8, remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Negative confession number 4, I have not slain men and women. Verse 13, you shall not murder. Negative confession number 3, I have not stolen. Exodus 20, verse 15, you shall not steal. Negative confession number 8 and 18 respectively, I have not uttered lies, I have slandered no man. Verse 16, you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. 20 and 21, I have not debauched the wife of any man. Verse 17, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife. Hopefully you will forgive me if the quality is not so great. You're supposed to see it all right there in full screen mode. Also, let me avoid any confusion. If you see the Bible quoted, it doesn't mean that I believe in it. I'm the type of person who pay attention to the original, not the copy. And even though most people go the other way around, that's because they do not know any better. Some people might tell you, look, the ancient Egyptians worshipped the sun, and so on. You just quote Psalm 84, verse 11. For the Lord God is a sun and shield. Hopefully they'll leave you alone, because either they go by the book or they shouldn't tell you anything at all. You cannot just pick and choose what suits you. Let's move on. Now I have to do this, especially for those who don't know. They keep repeating lies, so we have to keep saying the truth. The race of the ancient Egyptians. Now, Herodotus, nicknamed the father of history, he lived way after Kemet was finally invaded, which was around 600 BC. He was there 200 years later, more or less. And still at that time, he said, thirdly, it is certain that the natives of the country are black with the heat. And in saying that the dove was black, they indicate that the woman was Egyptian. It goes on to say, the Egyptians said they believed that the Colchians were a portion of the army of Sesostris. That this was so I conjectured myself, not only because they are dark-skinned and have curly hair. And he used the word olutrikes for nappy hair. That's just in case they say that, it's a bad translation. Next we have Aristotle, who lived 100 years after Herodotus. He says, those who are too black are cowards, like for instance the Egyptians and Ethiopians. He used the words agon melanes, which is Greek for excessively black. Once again, in case they try to pull that wrong translation thing. Next, Volney. He was speaking about the Copts. What a subject for meditation to see the present barbarism and ignorance of the Copts, descendants of the alliance between the profound genius of the Egyptians and the brilliant mind of the Greeks. Just to think that this race of black men, today our slave and the object of our scorn, is the very race to which we owe our art, science, and even the use of speech. Next, Champollion. You might have heard that name before. That's because he is the first European to decipher the hieroglyphs, thanks to the Rosetta Stone, which is in the British Museum. Now, he was writing to his brother, and he said, we find there Egyptians and Africans represented in the same way, which could not be otherwise. Now I'm going to show you what he was describing. That's a painting from the tomb of Seti I. It represents the races of men as known by the ancient Egyptians. As you can see, it is greatly damaged and it doesn't look natural to me. I think some stuff were bothering them they didn't want us to know, because not only you have the image, but also you have the meduneta, the hieroglyph, which describes the scene. But anyway, there is that drawing there, which is supposed to represent what I just shown, and it suits them because they're trying to say that the darker complexion is a Sudanese and then the one on the right is an Egyptian. But it's not the only place where they have shown the races of men as known to them. And Champollion actually talks about this in the letter to his brother. For example, there's the tomb of Ramesses III, and there's a German archaeologist called Lepsius who has made a drawing to depict that. Now, before I read it, I want to let you know that Cheikh Anta Diop actually used that image for the cover of his book Nation Nègre et Culture, which is the French equivalent to African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality. Now, what is written says, this painting from the tomb of Ramesses III, 1200 BC, shows that the Egyptians saw themselves as black and painted themselves as such without possible confusion with the Indo-Europeans, Caucasoids, or the Semites. It is a representation of the races in their most minute differences, which ensures the accuracy of the colors. Throughout their entire history, the Egyptians never entertained the fantasy of portraying themselves by types B or D. Now, A is the Egyptian seen by himself, black type. B is the Indo-European, C the other blacks in Africa, and D the Semite. Now, I do not know if that description is actually on Lepsius' book, because I haven't read it and I haven't seen it. But I know for a fact that the image is, because Job has made the references in his book, okay? Now, keeping with the topic, race and color, I want to address the red thing there. I know they're throwing that a lot. You need to understand that 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, people didn't just walk to a shop and say, hello sir, can I please have some black paint? Thank you. No, it didn't work like that. What they had to do is use the nature to come up with the coloring, okay? And one thing is the red ochre. That was abundant over there. And I'm going to give references for you to see. And I'm going to show you even more. Let's have a look. Life and Death in Ancient Egypt by Sigrid Heder-Hoenes, page 19. Red was produced almost exclusively from natural iron oxides abundant in Egypt. Egypt Revisited by Ivan van Sertima, page 53. Ancient Egyptians. The Dark Red Race Myth. The myth of the Egyptians belonging to the so-called Dark Red Race was created in the early 19th century and continues to be perpetuated by modern scholars and laymen. This premise is based primarily upon the color generally used to depict the ancient Egyptians on wall and papyrus paintings and statues. I am of the opinion, similarly expressed by the late Senegalese scholar Cheikh Anta Diop, that there was no such thing as a dark red race. This hue, in fact, was also used in a symbolic context. Now look at these sisters from Namibia. They are from the Himba tribe. They are covered in red. There's another one who is covered from head to toe, the whole body. You also have that in Kenya. You can see it there. And just in case you want to say it's only sisters so far, there's a brother. So you can get an idea. A few centuries from now, they probably say, look, those people in Namibia, they were not black, they were not African, they were of a red race, they came from, I don't know, who knows, they probably say Asia or whatever, blah, blah, blah. They probably say they were mixed race, then blah, blah, blah. Anyway, compare the crown with the hairstyle. Nefertiti, that's her real face. I know you're used to this one, but that one is fake, it's anonymous. I recommend to the sisters not to wear it. Here's a close-up. Compare the braid on that brother there with Akhenaten's daughter. Compare Tutankhamun's necklace with this sister from Kenya. Check out the colors. Compare the shape of Akhenaten's head with this brother from Rwanda. Another Himba sister from Namibia, and Akhenaten's daughter on the right. Look at the top of the hair. Watch carefully. Another Tutsi brother. He's not the same as before, but obviously the hairstyle is similar. You can compare that with the blue crown. Have a look at Akhenaten's mother. This is Khufu. Djoser. You can see they didn't like his nose. Mentuhotep. No, this is not a fez. Tahaka. Akhenaten lived around 1300 BCE. David, if he existed, lived around 1000 BCE. That's 300 years apart. Akhenaten was there 3 centuries before David, if he existed. I'm going to show you a case of plagiarism. Some might say it's just a coincidence. What you are looking at is the hymn to Aten, otherwise called the Great Hymn to Aten. Now, Aten is the god that Akhenaten was worshipping. Don't want to go through the whole story because it's available, but this was found in Armana. The original name was Akhet Aten, which means the horizon of Aten. That sounds similar to Akhenaten's name. Now, what I'm about to do is compare the hymn to Aten with Psalm 104, and I will only say the verses because it's all in the same chapter, which is, once again, Psalm 104. Hymn to Aten. When you set in the western horizon of the sky, the earth is in darkness. Verse 20. You bring on darkness and night falls. Hymn to Aten. Every lion comes forth from his den. Verse 21. The young lion roar after their prey. Hymn to Aten. At daybreak, when thou arisest on the horizon. Verse 22. The sun ariseth. Hymn to Aten. All the world, they do their work. Verse 23. And man goes out to work. Hymn to Aten. Trees and plants are flourishing. Verse 16. The trees of the Lord are full of sap. Hymn to Aten. The birds which fly from their nests. Verse 12. Beside them the birds of the heaven dwell. Hymn to Aten. The ships are sailing north and south as well. Verse 26. There go the ships. Hymn to Aten. Who giveth breath to sustain all that he has made. Verse 29. When you take away their breath, they die. Hymn to Aten. You supply his necessities. Verse 28. That thou givest them, they gather. Hymn to Aten. How manifold it is, what thou hast made. Verse 24. O Lord, how manifold are thy works. Hymn to Aten. For thou hast set a Nile in heaven, that it may descend for them and make waves upon the mountains. Verse 13. He waters the hills from his upper chambers. Hymn to Aten. Thou makest the seasons in order to rear all that thou hast made, the winter to cool them, and the heat that they may taste thee. Verse 19. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knows it's going down. Now, what is the most common symbol when you think of justice? Most of the time that's a woman who is usually blindfolded with a scale. Now look at plate 3 from the Papyrus of Ani, which is once again in the British Museum. In the middle, you have a scale. On the left of the scale, whoever is being judged, that's his heart inside of that vase. On the right, you have the feather of Ma'at, which is the Nether, the goddess of truth, justice, reciprocity, and so on. So once again, a feminine principle. Okay? When you think of a jury, you think of a tribunal. There's 12 people who make up the jury. Now let's look on the top. You have 12 people on the top. Okay, just above the scale of justice. This, some people might say, it's just a coincidence once again, but I don't care. This is a fact, and you can just make up whatever you want of it. But just be reminded that this is about 3,000 years old. Okay, let's move on. Now, what you are looking at is the Tendera Zodiac, located in the Louvre Museum in France. It was originally in Kemet. It represents the stars, and because of the presentation format, you might not be able to see it in details, but if you put Dendera zodiac on search engines, you should see some better representations. It's the oldest zodiac known, the oldest circular zodiac known. Some of you might have heard about a mention of Israel in an ancient Egyptian document. They are talking about the Merneptah stele, erroneously called the Israel stele. It's in Egypt, in the Cairo Museum. Now, I'm going to show you the line, the part that they claim means Israel. Okay, on the actual stele, you read it from right to left, but for clarity's sake, you're going to see it underneath from left to right. So what I've done, right, because it's a bit technical there, is for those who want to take it further and maybe learn the hieroglyphs, the Medunetta, I have put the meaning of each symbols, and underneath I have put their number according to the cardinal list. Okay, so then you basically have a breakdown of the meaning of that actual part. It's not the whole sentence, but that's the part that we are interested in. Some of those symbols, you probably notice that there is no description, like no translations, because it doesn't actually mean a letter. It's just to give a better definition. You know, it's an ideogram, that's what it is. Okay, but basically what it spells is Isri-ar or Isrir. Okay, and that's how it's spelled most of the time. Okay, and another thing that's important, the last symbols is a man and a woman, and underneath you have the 3 strokes for the plural. So that tells you that it's talking about people, not an actual place. So it's talking about people. So saying that it means Israel is wrong, definitely. Okay, so if anybody is trying to throw that at you, then you know how to get back at them. All right, that's very important, because there's so many misconceptions. And the funny thing as well is that they are always trying to use, I mean, when it comes to archaeology, you know, and they try to have some legitimacy, they always have to go to the Egyptian documents. You understand? Anyway, let's move on. Now, I think you would find this interesting. Daily Life of the Ancient Egyptians by Bob Brier, page 235. Egyptian woman gave birth sitting down, so gravity assisted the baby's exit, permitting less forceful contractions. Doctors probably did not assist at childbirth. That's what it probably looked like at the time. Then we are told how they will find out the gender of the child. On the same page, he goes on to say, the woman urinated on 2 test patches of emmer and barley seeds for several days. If either grew, she was pregnant. If only the barley sprouted, she would have a boy. If only the emmer, it would be a girl. Okay, soon I will show some visuals, but before that I want you to see once again how they have copied some writings from our ancestors, and it ended up in the Bible. What we're going to deal with is Amenemope, who lived between 1290 and 1190 BCE. That was during the 19th dynasty, and his writings are in the British Museum. It's called the Amenemope Papyrus, and it's dated around 1000 BCE. We're going to compare that with the Proverbs, and Solomon is the alleged author of the Proverbs. He lived around 950 BCE, so you can clearly see that Amenemope was around way before that. Okay. Now, Amenemope's instructions, chapter 1. Give your ears and hear what is said. Proverbs 22:17. Bow down thine ear and hear the words of the wise. Amenemope, chapter 1. Give your mind over to their interpretation. It is profitable to put them in your heart. Proverbs 22:17. And apply thine heart unto my knowledge. Amenemope, chapter 6. Do not displace the surveyor's marker on the boundaries of the arable land. Proverbs 23:10. Remove not the old landmark, and enter not into the fields of the fatherless. Amenemope, chapter 7. If riches come to you by theft, they will not spend the night with you. They have made themselves wings like geese, and they fly up to the sky. Proverbs 23:5. Whilst thou set thine eyes upon that which is not, for riches certainly make themselves wings, they fly away as an eagle toward heaven. Amenemope chapter 9. Do not fraternize with the hot-tempered man, nor approach him to converse. Proverbs 22:24. Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go. Amenemope chapter 10. God hates one who falsifies words. His great abomination is duplicity. Proverbs 12:22. Lying lips are abomination to the Lord, but they that deal truly are his delight. Amenemope in chapter 11. Do not covet the property of the dependent. Proverbs 22:22. Rob not the poor, because he is poor. Amenemope chapter 13. Better it is to be praised as one loved by men than wealth in the storehouse. Proverbs 22:1. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. Amenemope chapter 17. Make not for yourself a measure of two capacities. Proverbs 20:23. Divers weights are an abomination unto the Lord, and a false balance is not good. Amenemope chapter 21. Do not circulate your words to others, nor fraternize with one who is too candid. Proverbs 20:19. He that goeth about as a tale-bearer revealeth secrets, therefore meddle not with him that flattereth with his lips. Now there's a bit left. I will still quote the Proverbs, but those parts coming are copied from the wisdom of Ptah-hotep. He lived around 2400 BCE. There's two fragments in the British Museum, and there's a prize papyrus in France written between 2000 and 1600 BCE. They are basically copies of earlier writings. And remember that Solomon, if he existed, lived around 950 BCE. Ptah-hotep wisdom. Don't be proud of your knowledge. Consult the ignorant and the wise. Proverbs 1:5. A wise man will hear and will increase learning. Ptah-hotep wisdom. If you meet a disputant in action, you will make your worth exceed by silence. Proverbs 17:14. The beginning of strife is as when one letteth out water. Therefore leave off contention before it be meddled with. Ptah-hotep wisdom. If you are one among guests at a table of one greater than you, look at what is before you. Proverbs 23:1. When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee. Last one. Ptah-hotep wisdom. Do not boast at your neighbor's side. One has great respect for the silent man. Proverbs 17:28. A fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, and he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So let's have a look at a few. We're going straight to Giza. Now I know you know this, you saw this. Check out Orion. That's Orion's belt. Did you know that it was a line? And the pyramids, they're the oldest and the only remaining of the 7 wonders of the world. I'm not surprised they had to come up with the new wonders of the world. Now, leaving Giza, let's have a look at Saqqara. That's the step pyramid of Djoser, designed by Imhotep. You can see that was a long time ago. What you're seeing right now is Djoser's complex. This is Khufu's boat. It's quite large and still in good shape. Now, leaving Saqqara, let's have a look at Akhetaten. There's not much left. It was built only in 5 years, and it was abandoned 3,000 years ago. That was Akhenaten city, but there still remains. Leaving Akhetaten, let's have a look at Abydos. This is Seti the first temple, and that's inside. Now, leaving Abydos, we're having a look at Dendera. Here's a complex, another view. This is Heteru's temple, Hathor. Okay, leaving Dendera. Let's have a look at Luxor, probably the most famous place, especially for tourists. Looks lovely, doesn't it? That's the Hypostyle Hall, sorry. You see, there's one obelisk missing. It's because it was taken to Paris, in France. Leaving Luxor, having a look at Edfu. That's the rear view. Okay. Now we're gonna have a look at Kom Umbo. And Philae. It's very important that you see this. You know, when we talk about our history, it's backed up by archaeology, amongst all the other things that are all over the world in museums. It is still over there. Abu Simbel, a very lovely one as well. Very, very, very nice. Ramesu II. Okay, that was just a quick overview. There's so much more to see. This is actually in Sudan, in Merowe. That's a temple for Ammon, to Ammon, and that's a few of the pyramids that are over there. This shows what we came from and what we got to. That's the first Trinity, Heru, Osar, and Aset. I want to thank my brothers and sisters who are down with Kemet, who are down with Africa, Afuraka, who represent. And it might sound funny, but most of the people that I am thanking, I do not know them. We are scattered all over the world, and we are trying to do our best to open our people's eyes. I want to let you know that I know how it feels when your family and your friends and people around you take you for granted, do not take you seriously, might even try to, you know, ridicule you, laugh at you, imply that you are almost crazy because you are not trapped into a belief system like most our people do. Okay? I really know how it feels. I want you to stay strong. I know it's easier said than done, but I feel like telling you that, you know. I know, I mean, normally for us life is hard anyway, but when you do not follow the status quo, then it's even harder.